The International Movement for Leisure Activities in Science and Technology, MILSET, welcomes you to the MILSET World Virtual Summit 2021. Thank you very much for joining this event. We have had 4 fantastic days. We have learned a lot of things. And today we started early in the morning here in Mexico, streaming live from UPAEP University from the Convention Center. So we are very happy because today we have our first round table of the day with all MILSET members and authorities, having a fantastic day with conclusions and proposals for a better future in MILSET. And well, we are going to continue the program with a great conference. We are sure you will love it and you will enjoy it. Keep watching all the activities through MILSET Facebook and MILSET YouTube channel. Also, I would like to thank all the people who have been working to make this event. Thank you to the MILSET Executive Committee, the MILSET Regional Executive Committees, our sponsors, Movimiento STEM, and volunteers who are working with us here in the stage, and also to MILSET staff. Thank you very much for everything. We are doing great so far. Thank you. So now I would like to introduce Ms. Bere Suarez, MILSET Managing Director. She will present the first speaker of the day. Thank you very much. Bere, the mic is yours.
Thank you so much, Liz. And yes, this is the first conference of this day, and we're so happy to have a really passionate and very inspiring speaker that is providing us an amazing conference. I'm pretty sure you will like it. So I am honored to welcome Mr. Ranjitsinh Disale. And I want to give you a little feedback or background about him and his history. Well, when Mr. Disale arrived to the Sila Parish Primary School in 2009, it was a dilapidated building, sandwiched between cattle shed and a storeroom. More girls were from tribal communities where school attendance could sometimes be as low as 2%, and teenage marriage was common. Mr. Disale was determined to turn this around, moving to the village and making great efforts to learn the local language and then translate the class textbooks into the pupils' mother tongue and embed them with unique QR codes to give students access to audio poems, video lectures, stories, and assignments to create a personalized learning experience for each student. Now, there are no teenagers' marriages in this village, and 100% of them attend the schools, all these girls. It is important also to let you know that Mr. Disale is passionate about building peace between young people across conflict zones. He lets Cross the Borders project connects young people from India and Pakistan, Palestine and Israel, Iraq and Iran, and the USA and North Korea. Over a 6-week program, students are matched with a peace buddy from other countries. They closely interact, preparing presentation, and listen to guest speakers together to understand their similarities. So far, he has initiated an incredible 90,000 students from 8 countries in this program. Also, he is well known for demonstrating scientific experiments from the science lab he was built in his house. Microsoft official numbers show that Mr. Disale has taught an incredible 85,000 plus students from over 1,400 classrooms in 83 countries by virtual lessons. But Mr. Disale does not stop here, and he has determined to ensure that everything he learns is passed on to other teachers. So during this summer vacation, Mr. Disale has trained face-to-face more than 16,000 in-service teachers through the state of Maharashtra on how they can augment their teaching using technology. As a result, the sitting of CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, recognized him as one of the 3 stories from India in his 2017 book, Hit Refresh. So we are so happy to welcome Mr. Disale with his amazing conference. Mr. Disale, the mic is yours.
Thank you so much for such a warm welcome, and I must thank all the entire team of MILSET for inviting me to speak to you here today. I'm very honored to be the last year's Global Teacher Prize winner, but I was one of a number of teachers who were shortlisted from all over the world, all of whom who had changed their lives and made huge contribution to teaching. I was very pleased to be able to share half of my prize money with other 9 finalists for Global Teacher 2020. The Global Teacher Prize does not recognize just me, but it also shines a light on teachers and teaching profession to encourage people to give the respect that they deserve and to show how good teaching can change their lives for better. Today, I want to talk to you about my teaching, my school, my experiences, and what they have taught me about my profession, or our profession. I'll begin by telling you a little bit about myself. Some people who grow up to be a teacher say that they loved school from the first day with the went, but that wasn't always the case with me. Personally, I was not best behaved student at school, and I didn't like to keep being kept inside all the time in front of book and writing down the notes. I often wanted to go outside and to do so many things. I used to ask so many questions, but my teachers didn't always like this, and I never interested in grades. I was more interested in learning new skills, discovering rich world that we all are part of it. So from the beginning, as a teacher, I wanted to change how teaching was done and to improve on what I had experienced in the school. So when I went to teachers training college, I learned a lot from 2 teachers who convinced me that it could be done differently. And I call myself as an accidental teacher. I never wanted to be a teacher. My dream was to become an engineer, and I pursued my passion, my dream, but unfortunately I had to leave. It was my father who convinced me, who advised me to join the teachers training college. And there I saw what teachers can do. Teachers are real change makers. They showed me how educators could inspire their students and help to shape their better future for over the years and decades, rather than just focusing on rote learning and grades. So this was very important lesson that still informs everything I do in a classroom today. So my first teaching job, and so far my only one, was in Jilla Parishad Primary School, Paritewadi, Maharashtra State in India. And when I joined my school in 2009, I still remember my day one. It was 5th of January in 2009. I was just 20 years old at the time. Young guy, just passing out, just completed his graduation. And the first day I went there, my father actually took me there. And I saw my headmaster showed me my classroom. Ranjit, this is your classroom. Now go there and teach your students. I was surprised because my classroom doesn't look like a classroom. It was a cow shed. There were buffaloes, cows, and the foods were stuffed there. And I asked my headmaster, "Sir, are you sure this is my classroom?" He replied coldly, "Yes, Ranjit, it's your classroom." Oh my God. I never imagined such classrooms in 21st century. But it actually taught me that, and I knew straight away I had to face so many challenges. In rural India, there are often two types of obstacles to education. The first is lack of resources and facilities. My new school, or the first school, located in between that cattle shed and storeroom. And the second obstacle is traditional ideas about gender roles and in education. So for the various reasons, which I will come to talk later, the tradition in the village was for the girls to be married at teenagers. Many left school before they had finished their education. In general, girls' education was not taken seriously. True, it was not much better for the boys, but in fact, only about a quarter of people in the village had finished their education. So, how to change this scenario? I had to fight with that villager who actually occupied my classroom. It took 6 months to get back my classrooms. I couldn't teach, and the students were not coming to schools because you can imagine if the learning place is surrounded by cows and buffaloes and their foods, where would you prefer to go and learn? Obviously, you will not. And the same thing was happening to me. So, whoa, within the 6 month, I surveyed entire village. Why these parents are not complaining about the status of the classrooms? Because they were completely unaware of it. They didn't believe in education. They thought education is waste of time and waste of money. So it's better the kids to lend their helping hands in farming rather than just going into the schools. So the survey has given me the glimpse of entire village about the educational status, economical status, their culture background. There I found out very interesting fact. The percentage of females being educated was much higher than the males. So I decided to take a help of females or the mothers because I personally believe that parents, teachers, and students, three important key pillars of educations. When they join their hands together, when they work collectively, we see the better results. So initially I set up three targets before me. The first was to change the parents' indifference toward education. Second was to ensure 100% attendance of each and every student. And the third, to provide them quality educations. It's their right, it's a birthright. And to achieve these targets, I made a plan of action for 5 years. How I'm going to achieve these targets. And whatever I did, it's all about to achieve these targets. So initially, I took a step out of the schools and started to meet the parents, meet the community. I shifted from my native place to Paritewadi, started living with villagers, understanding their mindsets, helping them whenever they needs anything, my advice, understanding their cultures. And gradually, I became a friend of them, a friend who needs, a friend who helps them in their needs. And then initially, I started a project called Community Engagement Program. I invited girls nearby villages who have inspired themselves, who have built their career, who have changed their lives being educated. These girls were invited before the parents and they were sharing their experiences, how the education has changed their lives. And at the end of every session, every lecture, I simply surface a question, ask them a questions. Do you want your kids, do you want your girls to become like this one? Or you want your kids to do the same thing, whatever you're doing now? So parents usually go for the first option. They want to change but how? I shown them the pathway. I initiated a project called Alarm On TV Off. I set up an alarm on school's building and it goes rings at 7 p.m. every night. So whenever it rings, it means now stop working whatever you're doing. And now sit together with your kids. Help them to understand, help them to complete their homework, ask them the questions, recall what they have learned. But parents didn't know how to do these things. So I started to send a text messages in the afternoon. What role parents are doing, could be doing at night. So according that, they started planning the things, and this is how gradually I ensured that active participation of parents in my teaching learning process. Students also started taking the responsibility or ownership of what they are learning, what they are doing in the classrooms. So as a result, I saw that girls were attending the classrooms. But my second obstacle was that, even that they were coming to school, they were not enjoying because, it was just the first generation and the teaching was not as per their styles of learning. In this era of 21st century, you know, these students, all the students of 21st century are being taught by teachers of 20th century using that 19th century curriculum on an 18th century techniques. And I was not exception. So I wanted to change the table, spin the ball. And I introduced the technology in the classrooms. I purchased a laptop and started showing them the movies, songs, whatever they like to see. We were just enjoying students coming to the classroom, watching their movies, best movies, whatever they like, dancing, singing, everything was happening. The intention was the classroom should become a place of happiness, entertaining place. Let them enjoy. And gradually, when I saw that attendance is increasing, those who were attending the classrooms, they were, when they went back to home, they were sharing their expenses with their friends. Oh, today we watched this movie. What a fantastic movie that was. And tomorrow we're going to watch this one. A new teacher, Ranjit, is really fantastic. We are just enjoying. The students, those who were not coming to schools, those who were lending the helping hands to their parents, it also stuck in their mind. They started thinking, oh my God, my friend is enjoying and I'm doing hard work in the farm. So what should I do? The option they decided to go in the classrooms because they also wanted to enjoy. So this is how I manage my classrooms to attend everyone should attend a class. So when I saw that now everyone is coming to classroom, I wanted to now change the table. I thought of edutainment. Instead of just entertainment, turn that entertainment into edutainment. It means some part of entertainment and some part of education. It's a blended mode of edutainment. So I recorded my video lessons, shown it to my students, and asked them the questions. It was like moreover informal learning. Whether they wanted to learn or to relearn, they can go back, rewind it, and just learn the things. If they couldn't understand, I will record another video for my students. So this is how I manage to get every student in a classroom. So I think this is how I develop my own teaching as well. I develop some of the online lectures method or the new videos. I had my own resource, digital resource. And with the help of this resource, I had developed unique QR codes in my textbooks. So what I did, whatever the digital content I developed, I uploaded it on the drive. And the link of the same digital content been embedded in a QR code. And these QR codes were then pasted in a textbook, something like this. This is where. So this is actually a poem, right? And there you can see the QR code of the same poem. So how students would like to learn the poem? They would like to sing it. So I didn't have a singing voice. So I recorded it, the audio format of one of my colleagues who had a great singing voice. I recorded this audio and then uploaded it on a Google Drive. And the link of the same being embedded in this QR code. So when the student scans this QR code, he or she gets digital content. He can access it anytime, anywhere. This is how I made learning more personalized. It's not just about accessing the content. It's also about getting to understand, getting know whether they have understood it or not. So these QR coded textbooks are actually dynamic QR coded textbook. It means when the student scans the same QR code for the first time, he or she will get the digital content. After watching this video, again he has to scan the code, but this time he will get online test. He has to pass the test, whether he could understood the concept or not. And he has to solve this question. After getting the results, at the back end, I get to know how much score, how many marks he has scored. And based on the results, I change the data at backend. So this is how I manage learning to become more and more personalized for my students. It helps them to learn whenever they want, wherever they want, and whatever they want. It's not about competing each others. It's all about challenging ourselves, whatever we want. So this is how my idea of QR coded textbook helped my students to learn much better way. Most importantly, using the different QR codes in a textbook, I could tailor the material to individual students or a group based on their learning style. We use poems, lectures, and stories. I shown you an example. Most important, this way of teaching let them learn in a guided way when they were at home. Our school happened to be the first school in the state of Maharashtra to use QR coded textbook. But since then, this way of teaching has spread far and wide. Following our success, the State Education Ministry and the Indian National Ministry has begun to use this idea, introducing more flexibility into the whole education system. QR coded features has also been very important for encouraging girls' educations. Last year, when the pandemic happened, schools were closed for at least 6 to 7 months. But still, students were able to learn just because they had these QR coded textbooks. So an idea can change not only life of mine, but everyone's. Girls' education I was talking about was not taken very seriously in my village, and also throughout the world. Many parts of the world, girls get far less education than boys. Around 130 million girls globally are out of schools. There are many reasons for this. One is that traditional societies tends to place more importance on boys' education because they believe that they will be breadwinners and the girls have to raise the children and they get married. So girls are often encouraged to get married at teens, cutting short their education. There are various reasons behind this. I'm not going deeply into this, but often the reason is more economic. And a dowry can provide much needed income for her family. So in other cases, caring responsibilities are placed on girls, for example, if they have younger brothers or sisters. And this limits the time they can spend in school. Sometimes there is also an expectation that girls do not attend schools during their monthly cycle. This means they are away for a few days. As a teacher, we have to try to convince parents that girls' education is a worthwhile investment. This is important for improvement and empowerment of girls and humans, but there are also other reasons. For instance, a literate mother has 50% higher chances of her girls surviving the past age of 5. An educated woman invests as much as 90% of her income into her family and her community. So, as a solution to economic problems, it is estimated that the 12 years of universal education for all girls could unlock about $30 trillion in earnings or equivalent. For context, that's more than United States national debt. So how do we boost girls' education and get families to see as it worthwhile? Rather than lecturing parents, our approach had been one of empowerment. We aim to build up girls' self-confidence, skills, and voices, and then help them to be their own advocates. The QR coded textbook have meant that if the girls are asked to shoulder some responsibilities at home or kept away from the school for some other reasons, they can still learn because they learn through the other media beyond the textbook and discuss the material with other students of the other schools. The girls begin to express themselves better and communicate more creatively. The part of empowerment girls also involves making school a safe place for them. This means educating students about tactical behaviors that is inappropriate with their classmates. So over the last decades, we have made a great deal of progress. Parents in the community started to believe in girls' education and to see that the school offered them a great deal. Today, there is 100% virtual attendance in a school. There are no teenage marriages. 85% of students are getting grade A, and 98% have achieved their expected learning outcomes before completing their school year. Our school is now rated the best school in the district, and most important, parents are no longer viewing girls as lesser than the boys. So I have also seen that if we allow girls to make their own choices, they do amazing things. In fact, one of my students, Sakshi, she has graduated from university, now working as an engineer. This was basically unimaginable in a village just a few years ago. Equally, on a boys' side, a student named Vikram is now studying for an MBA in agriculture. His aim is to revolutionize the farming sector by bringing it up to date with the new technologies and new methodologies. As a teacher, I had some success empowering these students, but all credit goes to them for taking the opportunities and making most of them. However, that's not to say that we haven't faced any challenges and obstacles. Recently, COVID-19 has caused a lot of problems. Unfortunately, pandemic has created barriers for girls' education everywhere in the world. So last year alone, it pushed more than 150 million people globally into the extreme poverty. Lack of money and family health troubles. It means that the school age girls are now having to go out of the work and they couldn't attend these classrooms. The Malala Fund estimates that as a result of this pandemic, 20 million girls in developing countries may never return to classrooms. So in our village, we have had to be very creative to get around these difficulties. As I described earlier, we have always had some element of online teaching in our school. But now, all our teaching is online. Unfortunately, families couldn't afford as much mobile data as they used to. So we have had to find ways to stretch this data out for our students, including making arrangement to share the devices between them. I had also borrowed devices from my friends to share with my students for this purpose. So with these efforts, we had managed to keep everyone learning. Not a single girl has dropped out of school yet. But it could have been very different, and other areas will not have been so lucky as I am. So, COVID is just one of the things that underline for us how technology is more and more important for education today. Even without pandemic, people needs freedom to be able to learn at different times of a day in a different ways. So let me say a bit more about how teaching with technology can be a success and why sometimes it fails. So some people today think that if we just throw a technology at problems, they are instantly solved. But that is hardly ever true, even less often in education. In the best cases, technology just makes things or makes idea possible that was previously impossible. So the key to any successful innovation is having an original idea or useful teaching idea that you can use it to deliver through the online teaching. So it's never about teaching alone. And this is why teachers do not have to teach, do not have to be a tech genius in order to come up with innovative educational teaching ideas. So I was very comfortable with the technology from childhood, but I still had to learn how to create QR codes, how to make and how to embed the data. So I think teachers should continue their learning. Unfortunately, internet connectivity in many places around the world still seems to be at low level. Teachers Task Force in an international alliance coordinated by UNESCO on the basis of data from UNESCO Institute of Statistics has shown that out of 1.7 billion learners worldwide, around 706 million learners have no internet at home, and around 826 million learners have no household computers. So when I designed this QR coded textbook, I knew there was a one mobile in a family in my area, and that was just enough for me. Students could borrow for an hour or two in the evening to do some extra learning. I designed it around the tech that was available to them. So what made it successfully? It was its practicality and the fact it solved a teaching problem. The tech was only means, not an end. However, since we have done a lot more with the help of technology, amongst the other things, it allowed us to reach out and to communicate with students from another countries. As a part of 6-week PRIS project, I created and I call it as Let's Cross the Borders. It's a great demonstration of how teach technology can be used to plant the seeds of peace rather than conflict in the minds of young people. This project connects students from two different countries that are in the conflict with each other and if fully at a war. Examples would be like India, Pakistan. For instance, students in both countries are given as a peace buddy role, and they thought of themselves becoming the close friends of each other. In second week of projects, they have been asked to talk about why they are fighting, and students come up with their own answers. Then the third week, they discuss similarities and differences between the countries. And finally, all the students gathered together on a Skype and suggesting solutions to the peace problem and what to do next. Students commit to themselves what concrete actions they could be taking. For instance, researching political speeches to confirm facts before acting on them. The student's job is then to spread the message of peace with their schools and community. Since 2017, we have been able to build a peace army of 18,000 students from these countries. Following the tensions between India and Pakistan in 2019, we encourage students to read the newspaper from other countries and to understand what people they were being told. So despite the political tensions, students continue to be very positive about their peace studies. And this shows that sometimes the right directions could be very powerful in changing views and minds. So to build the success of my project, I am giving 20% of my $1 million prize money so that we could extend it to around 5,000 students every year. So my aim in discussing all these things is to be some of the help I could borrow to you. So let me try and summarize what I've learned over the last decades. Much of the world today struggles to provide quality universal education, particularly to girls. But I think at the same time, many countries suffer political tensions and conflict, whether they are from country within the countries or outside the countries. So what I have consistently found is that empowering students, particularly girls, is an essential first step towards tackling these issues. Getting them to believe in themselves and becoming self-starting learners is one of the biggest steps we should take it now. Second, we as a teacher must be prepared to tailor our teaching to both individual students and their communities. We have to look and see what are their real needs rather than just coming up with pre-planned, pre-fixed program of to implement. Technology can be helpful tool, but it must always serve an educational aim, never be an end itself. So in my opinion, the most important factor in providing quality education is to create great teachers and empower them to do great things. Outside my school duties, I often engage in teachers training programs and I train them how to become a teacher of 21st century, how to use technology in a meaningful way could lead to the authentic learning. Empowered students can only be nurtured by empowered teachers. More often, students see the world through the lenses of their teachers. And that's why teachers needs to be in touch with their creative energies and enthusiasm and use them in the classrooms. So till now I could able to share my experiences with thousands of teachers in India and across the world to really create a step of change how teachers are viewed and valued, however more than money is needed. To be a teacher, it requires hard work, leadership, creativity, and genuine empathy for the students. We need to show that teaching is a profession to aspire to. In India, there is now much more positivity about teachers as a result of an Indian teacher winning Global Teacher Prize. It may boost status of educators throughout the country in years coming up. So I feel very privileged to be an ambassador for teachers, both in my countries and around the world. So finally, although teachers are crucial link in the chain, they cannot change the world on their alone. So teaching methods I brought in Jila Parishad Primary School were success, but without interest and resources from Indian state and national government, the lesson learned would have remained local. So governments, NGOs, schools need to collaborate, collect data on successful teaching practices, ensure that the best use is made of resources. Looking to the future, we as a global society have to realize that failing to educate children in poorer countries will only deepen and postpone the problems facing us this century. To solve these challenges, we are going to need educated, creative leaders of every type or every background, irrespective of their gender. These peoples who can tackle the climate change, political unrest, and problems that flow from a growing world populations. So this means that if teachers, governments, and NGOs work together, we can make this a reality. But time is of actions. Time to take actions, not just to talk. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Ranjit. I am sure that for all the leaders that are watching worldwide, because one of the words you say, it was very, I really like it. It's about edutainment, which is the combination of education and entertainment. And this wouldn't be possible without the teachers, parents, and students. And at the end, you said something very important, organizations. Organizations who can provide this environment and help others to really get that learning process for students and change communities and even the world. So thank you very much. I will start with the questions. We have some questions. The first one is, what was the biggest challenge you face to change the mindset in the community?
This is the first actually challenge I face, how to change those mindsets of parents. Just let me tell you the one incident happened to me. The owner of that classroom, so the place, he was very determined. One day he thrown stones on me and on my bike. I was injured, but I was very determined. I told him that even though you thrown the stones on me, but I want to teach. I want to be here. I will get back my classrooms. The problems before me were multiplied. My journey was full of all these such incidents. But the biggest challenge I faced while changing the mindsets of parents was of girls' education. They never believed uh, how the girls could support their families and how it could change their status. I think, but I could manage just because I believed in a principle of acceptance. Whenever the change you want to bring a change, the change should not be forced; it should be accepted. And I always believe in that acceptance principle rather than just giving them lectures and telling them the importance. I invited the girls from nearby villages so that their example self-explanatory and the parents could see the change. When they see the change, when they experience the change, they start believing, they start accepting. So I think this was the biggest challenge, but I always like to face the challenges, not just talking about the challenges, because just talking about the challenges will not solve the problems. We need problem solvers, creative problem solvers, and I wanted to do the same things that my students could follow my example.
The next question is, what kind of technology did you introduce in the classroom, and which was the most popular resource to the group?
My students, I use so many different applications, but what my students like is Skype, interacting with students from other countries, interacting with students from different places. We do visit virtually around, I think, around 80 to 60 countries. We do have our own passports. Let me just show you if I have a sample of it. So this is how my students actually learn while using the different techniques. So while we use Skype, my students used to use these passports, virtual passports. Whenever we do have a Skype session, students do record their learning, where we are going to how much distance we have traveled, what were the questions we have asked. So this Skype actually helping my students to learn to go beyond the classrooms without leaving classrooms. We have watched, we have actually experienced this, all the seven wonders of the world without leaving. So my students watch Eiffel Tower. We also seen the tortoise hospital in USA and underwater lab, sea lab in UK as well. So Skype is one of the most popular application of my students. They always like to Skype with different people. It gives them new experience to see the world through the different lenses.
I think we have someone from the meeting. Stefan, would you like to say your question or participate?
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to ask my question. I would like to thank our speaker today for the great overview and for sharing with us his great experience. I would like to ask you, have you perhaps already identified or defined some specific quantitative and qualitative indicators to actually evaluate and monitor the overall sustainability of the approach, of this educational approach? Thank you very much.
Yeah. So talking about the sustainability of whatever the initiatives and the efforts being made here, what I can ensure you that whatever I'm doing it passionately, but I really don't know whether this could be continue when I left my schools. So that's why I wanted to train the teachers as of mine. I wanted to see that everyone is passionate, everyone is doing the same thing that I'm doing. So it's not like when I'm leaving my schools and joining the different schools, the new teachers coming to my classrooms will do the same things. No, I can't be assured that. But the community and students, when they ask him to do the same thing that their previous teachers has do, I think this will build a pressure on new one. But rather than just going on pressurizing tactics, it's all about having a group, having a community of like-minded people, like-minded teachers, those who like to learn new things. And that's why I more train the teachers in my summer vacations, so that I could see that everyone is learning, everyone is helping others to do the great things, to do amazing things.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone in the room? No. Okay, I will ask another question. Sorry, Carol Charlebois, please could you ask your question?
Good evening. It's not a question, but just a small comment. I just want to say thank you. You are a very inspiring man, and from all the girls over the world.
Thank you so much for this. Yeah.
About all the work you have done, and people are asking a lot of questions. So next one is, how did you manage to evaluate the learning of the group?
Yeah, it's very important. That's a good question. Just go back to my talking or the speech where I use technology. I use it more recalling and evaluating, because when you start evaluating students with the help of technology, it will ease your efforts. So I use Google Forms, Fullbrew add-ons. So it will helps me to automatically grade them, automatically check their answers, and automatically assign them the different questions. So I had a questionnaire around a set of questions, around 500 questions in my question bank. And automatically these 500 questions being assigned to students considering their style of learning. Some of them are very difficult, some of them are very easy questions. So it's all about students' learning style and their ability to solve the difficult questions. So I use this technology more often in evaluating purpose. Second thing is that I use very different techniques rather than just giving them question or answer sheet, I simply ask my students, write whatever you learn about this topic, write it down. This is one technique I use. I give them a blank sheet, and today we're going to have a exam of language or the mathematics. So in last few weeks, we learned these things. Now write down what you learn. So it's a freedom for students to write whatever they learn. So evaluation means what? It's just to check the understanding. But when you give the freedom to learners to self-evaluate themselves, they actually set up new parameters for them. Just try this technique in your schools. Ask your students to write down or to set up their own exam paper and look, the change is happening. Students like these techniques. Second, the third thing I always do is about their observations, how students are responding to my activities, how they're doing their job up to the marks or not. So observation sheet also helps me to evaluate their performances.
Question is, did you need much funds, and how did you manage to get the funds to accomplish this great project?
Yeah, we need funds, but I always approach to the peoples who are interested in educations, who understand what I'm doing. So I raise the funds through the the corporate responsibility fund in India. So I do approach to many bureaucrats and many corporates, telling them the importance what I'm doing and asking them to support my social cause. So till now, I couldn't get in trouble, just lack of funds. People in India do support the great things. Only thing is that you need to convince them that you are royal and you are devoted person.
I think it's really important. It says, how could other organizations and people around the world, how could other organizations and people around the world support this project?
Yeah, if you want to support my ideas and support these projects, you can reach out to my social media channel. I'm on the Twitter, Instagram, or LinkedIn. I have designed my own website. You can log into ranjitsinghdisale.org. There you can find out a page to donate or to support my various uh, projects, or I'm also on the crowdfunding website like Milap. So you can find me everywhere. You just need to search me on the social media. I'm just a click away from you.
Thank you very much. Well, I just wanted to let you know that I am receiving many messages of people who want to get in touch with you to support the project. We're very excited. Of course, our MILSET and other organizations who are partners, and also I'm sure we will work together in future projects. And now I will tell you the greetings, some of them, because we're running out of time. So we have people watching from India, of course, for sure, Thailand,
Yes.
Taiwan, South Korea, Australia, Japan, China, Kazakhstan, Kuwait, South Africa, Lesotho, Namibia, Kenya, Chile, Mexico, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Singapore, Philippines, Guatemala, France. Sorry if I repeat some of them. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Everybody's very excited. We also have some greetings from Maria Angelica Riquelme, MILSET AMLAD President. Congratulations. Elio Brocher, MILSET AMLAD Vice President. Congratulations. We have from Mexico, from Kathy, greetings from Mexico, and so on and so on. I will continue. Jeffrey Soriano from El Salvador, Swampnil Ramtiki from, I'm not sure where is he from, or she from, and well, many others. Thank you very much. Dear Ranjit, we're very excited and we're sure we will continue collaborating. And for all the people who are watching, well, here is the kind of projects and initiatives that we can support to build a better future for everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me and speak to you here today. Have a good day, good night, goodbye.
Ranjit, sorry, before we leave, if you can please write your email in the chat of the Teams meeting for the people who have registered in the MILSET activity. We will appreciate it a lot so they can contact directly with you and maybe find out how to collaborate with you.
I couldn't see the chat box. Could you please write down?
Yeah,
If anybody could help me to. It's events.
Can you spell it, please?
Events, EVENTS, events.
Okay.
@
Yes.
Ranjitsinh Disale, RANJITSINH.
Okay. Good. Perfect.
DISAL.
Disale, sorry?
.org.
Org. Okay, anyway, we will confirm it with you in a minute. If I made any mistake with letters, thank you very much. And for the audience who is watching, meet you in some minutes in the next in the workshop if you're registered. So meet you in the workshop. Thank you very much.